Hi, I'm Dr. George Yancey. Let's share some paradigms. The paradigm I'll share today is Utopia? The idea of utopia is great. Couldn't we create on Earth a sort of heaven, sort of place of perfection where people are encouraged to do good things and there's no lack of want or need and you see this in literature all the time. One of the appeals of watching something like Star Trek is that they've created some version of a utopia till those dirty Klingons come in and mess it all up or what have you. And so there's this strong desire, understandably so, for some sort of utopic type of vision. And that's understandable. However, we have to be careful about utopia. And oftentimes the desired utopia has externalities that it really is troublesome. The notion of utopia, I connect back to Enlightenment thinking. The Enlightenment was this notion that as we move away from superstition, from religion, from primitive beliefs, we can create a society that is utopian in nature. We can remake our society and we can create a society that benefits all of us and a wonderful utopia. The Enlightenment thinkers thought that what was holding us back was religion, superstition. They felt that rationality and science would create utopia. And once we became more rational as a species and used our sciences, then we'd have utopia. Now this all sounds wonderful, and who would not want us to move forward in utopia? But it does come at a cost. For example, if perfectionism is possible, because the Enlightenment thinkers are thinking of humans as perfectible. We can perfect humans and perfect society. If that is possible, then should we not do whatever we can to obtain it? Can the means of obtaining it? What are the implications of that? Before I go on to that, if you like this, discussing things like this, please like this video. Consider liking this channel. Consider subscribing to this channel. Let's build this channel and hopefully more and more of us can have these sort of conversations and I think that there could be insight gained from conversations like this. Okay, a great deal of damage is done trying to achieve utopia. The best example, of course, is Marxism. Marx believed that we will gain utopia as we get rid of capitalism. And people who understand Marxism knows that it's not just about capitalism. He believed that capitalism, the economic system, everything emerged from that. So we wouldn't just change our economic system, we would change our mindset, we'd create better humans. We would live in this wonderful existence. Marx's vision, if achieved, would be beautiful. Problem is, getting there required things such as the Soviet Union. Well, it didn't require it, but it led to things such as the Soviet Union, China, Cuba, a lot of societies saying, we want this utopic vision. And if that hurts some people on the way, so be it. But it's not limited to Marxism. Other efforts at utopia, a lot of times some of the new religious movements or cults have a utopic vision so that it is permissible to achieve it. And that leads to some nasty outcomes. You see, there is a counter to thinking about utopia in this way. Utopia assumes that we are perfectible. What if we're not? The Christian argument, at least from my tradition, is that we're not perfectible. We have human depravity. And that depravity comes out time and time again. And if we have this human depravity, our ability to conceive a utopic reality is compromised. We can't envision it because our depravity stops us from seeing it. I believe the Christian vision is more accurate in assessment of the nature of the human creature than the notions of enlightenment perfectibility. It is not to say that we don't want things to get better. We do. We work towards that. We effort towards making society better. And the data shows that Christians are more likely to give to charities, are more likely to volunteer to make society better. You know, it's not that Christians don't believe that we don't want to work to make society better, but we realize that there's a limit to how well it can be this side of the grave. I think that gives us, if we do it right, a healthy suspicion about efforts claiming that we're going to create this perfection. It helps us to be able to weigh, is this effort towards this perfection worth the costs? These costs, are we willing to pay it for this gain? A much more practical way of looking at it than say, it's going to be beautiful when we get there. You know, if you don't get there because you died along the way, we're sorry, but for the rest of us, we appreciate your sacrifice. But if you're not confident you're ever going to get there, then you're less likely to make those sort of horrendous sacrifices. I believe we need to humbly acknowledge that we are not good enough to achieve utopia. I think that's actually a better way of approaching it than the beautiful vision of utopia. And it's so tempting. But if you can't achieve it, and you're going to do things that are unwielding, then we're better off not trying to do those things at all. We're better off understanding our own human limitations. The main challenge I see, and if we recognize that utopia is not achievable, is to recognize that the group that we're a part of, that's trying to achieve whatever we're trying to achieve, has blind spots, because human depravity affects them as well. They have a vision of utopia. When we see those blind spots, are we willing to call out the blind spots of our opponents? Clearly we are, but of our allies. Are we willing to say to our allies, look, you have good intentions, but this isn't going to work because, or this is a problem that's there. Or we have people who have fallen horribly, and I can't just turn a blind eye because they're on my team. Are we willing to recognize that we can't achieve utopia? So let's work on the depravity within our own ranks to do the best we can, to call out the problems within our own group, as well as critiquing other groups. Understand that maybe together we won't achieve utopia with work with others, but we'll get better if we just rely on the depravity within us and our own allies. Well, hope it sort of gives you something to think about. Thanks once again, and please come back. We can shatter some more paradigms.